Hi guys! Hope everybody's having a good week. I just wanted to hop on here and get started with our lesson this week. This week is our last week. We have 6 total and this is lesson number 6. Now, we've talked about a lot of things this summer. We've talked about faith. We've talked about the armor of God. We really have talked a lot about faith. Several of our lessons have centered around that. We talked about how our faith in Jesus is what saves us. We've talked about what faith is and how we can live that out in our lives. We've talked about being the same to everybody, treating everyone equally, and getting rid of the hypocrisy in our lives. We've talked about a lot of stuff. But this last week, I wanted to talk about one other thing, and that is love. So, a couple of weeks ago we talked about the fruit of the Spirit, and one of those fruits is faith. Another one of those fruits is love. So, for this week, we're going to take a look at what's called the love chapter, and that's 1 Corinthians chapter 13. So, let me read that real quick. So it says, "If I speak human or angelic languages but do not have love, I am a sounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so that I can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing. And if I donate all my goods to feed the poor, and if I give my body in order to boast, but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. Love does not envy, is not boastful, is not conceited, does not act improperly, is not selfish, is not provoked, does not keep a record of wrongs. Love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things." So, those are the first 7 verses of 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Now, let's talk a little bit about what Paul is saying here. So, he wrote to the early Christians to explain that love is one of the most important things that God has given us. And because of that, we should be sharing it with others too, right? If it's a really good gift, you can't keep it to yourself. You want to shout from the rooftops that this is great, look what I've got, and you want to show everybody else. That's how we should be doing with Christ's love that he gave to us. We should be sharing it with the entire world. So, he reminded the early Christians that no matter what they did, they needed to do it with love. He says, in the first verse, he says, "If I speak human or angelic languages but do not have love, I am a sounding gong or a clanging cymbal." Okay, so basically what Paul's saying is that if I just keep talking, no matter what language it is, if it's French, if it's German, if it's English, Spanish, whatever, if I'm just talking and saying things, but I don't have any love behind what I'm saying, it doesn't mean anything. People don't hear what I'm trying to say because I'm not saying it with love. You just come off kind of annoying. Like he says, you're a sounding gong or a clanging cymbal. You don't want to hear that all the time. That's a really loud noise that gets old really fast, right? That's not cool. So we don't want to be those clanging cymbals. We want to have love behind all of our actions. He says, verse 2, "If I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so that I can move mountains, but do not have love, I am nothing." We can have lots of cool gifts. We can do lots of cool things, but if we don't have love, it means nothing. Love is what people are going to see behind all of our actions, and that's what we need to make sure that they know that we have. So, we should live our lives pouring out the love of Christ to others. He's given it as a free gift to us, and that in itself should be enough to make us want to share it to everyone else. And it doesn't cost us anything. That's a free gift we can give too. So, we're going to talk more about that. We're going to flip over a little ways in the New Testament. So we're in 1 Corinthians. We're going to flip over to 1 John. Let's see if I can find it. So, in 1 John chapter 3, we have the command to love. So, as Christians. It's not just something we should do, it's something we're commanded to do. So, 1 John 3, we're going to start in verse 11. So, for this is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another. Unlike Cain, who was of the evil one and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his works were evil and his brothers were righteous. Do not be surprised, brothers, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death to life because we love our brothers. The one who does not love remains in death. Everyone who hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that no murderer has eternal life residing in him. This is how we have come to know love. He laid down his life for us. We should also lay down our lives for our brothers. If anyone has this world's goods and sees his brother in need, but closes his eyes to his need, how can God's love reside in him? Little children, we must not love with word or speech, but with truth and action. This is how we will know we belong to the truth and will convince our conscience in his presence, even if our conscience condemns us, that God is greater than our conscience and he knows all things. Dear friends, if our conscience doesn't condemn us, we have confidence before God and can receive whatever we ask from him because we keep his commands and do what is pleasing in his sight. Now this is his command, that we believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and we love one another as he commanded us. Okay, so that's 1 John 3, 11 through 23. And that last verse is important. Now this is his command, that we believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and we love one another as he commanded us. Jesus told us we are to love one another as he loved us. That is, he has loved us so much that he sent his Son to take up our sins and die for us on the cross, and he rose again on that third day, forgave us of everything, if we only ask him for it. But he loved us that much. That's a whole lot. I don't know you think about how much you love, like, your brother or your sister or your parents, your friends. Is it enough to go and offer to lay down your life for them? That's the kind of love that God has for us. And that's the kind of love that he has commanded us to show to everyone we meet. If he loved us that much, we just need to be showing that love to other people. So, love's pretty important, right? And sometimes it's hard. We get annoyed with people. Your brother or your sister may say something and you kind of get a little upset. And it may be hard to love them in that moment. But we're commanded to do that. And whenever we have the love of Christ in us, it's easy to let it overflow from us. We have so much, we need to share it with others, and it's easy to let it out. We know that we are commanded to love as God loved us, and to do everything in our lives. All of our actions should be done with love. But let's go back to 1 Corinthians and look at what love looks like, because Paul does write out some characteristics of what love is. So, if we start in verse 4, 1 Corinthians 13, verse 4, we'll read down through verse 7. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, is not boastful, is not conceited, does not act improperly, is not selfish, is not provoked, and does not keep a record of wrongs. Love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Okay, that's a lot of stuff, right, that love is. So, let's just start with the first few things. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, is not boastful. Love is not losing your temper. Love is being patient. Sometimes it's hard to be patient. I know that. We want to do something right now, or we're working with someone and they're not doing their part of the job fast enough and we get upset. That's not love. We show love by being patient with other people. We show love by saying, it's okay, we'll figure it out together. Let's see what we need to do. That's being patient. That's showing love. Love is kind. I think we all know what kindness is. We've talked a lot about it in church lately. We all need to be kind. That's showing love. Love does not envy. We don't always want what other people have. Being having envy is being jealous of someone or of something. Maybe somebody got a cool new toy or got to do some fun thing and you wish, man, I really wish I had to do that. Love is saying, that is so great for you. I'm so happy that you got to do that and you had so much fun. That's what love is. Love is not boastful, so we don't walk around going, I got 100 on my test this week. What did y'all get? Because I think I did better. I am so much cooler at this than you are. That's not love. That's just rubbing stuff in other people's faces. And that makes them not really want to listen to what you have to say, right? They don't want to listen to that all the time. So, not boastful. That doesn't mean you can't be proud of your accomplishment. But just don't start, like, really trying to rub it in their faces. Love is not conceited, does not act improperly, is not selfish, is not provoked. That's a tough one for me. Love is not provoked. That means you don't get in a fight with people. If they're trying, okay, my brother and sister, everybody here has got siblings, right? Sometimes you fight with your siblings. They say something that they know is going to annoy you just to see the reaction they're going to get. And then so you react to whatever it was they did and you get upset. That's not love. We can't be provoked. So, and then one of the last things Paul says is love it does not keep a record of wrongs. So no scorekeeping on who wins all the arguments or who did something wrong to you. We just let it go. Sometimes that's a hard lesson to learn, trust me. But we let it go and we act in love. We're not keeping track of what everybody's done. That's not our job. And then love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in truth. So love doesn't rejoice whenever something bad happens to somebody else, or you see someone that has been mean to you or something and they're not making good decisions, so you're not happy about that. That's not love. Love is saying, what can I do to help them understand how they're wrong, or just help them in general? Like, do they need help with homework? Do they need help with friends? What do they need? What can I do for them? That's what love is. And it bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never goes away. That's a pretty big deal, right? Everything in this world is temporary. Everything goes away. Love does not. So, there's a lot to be learned from this chapter, and you'll hear it a lot in church sometimes. And it is the love chapter because Paul is sharing with the early Christians the importance of love and what it really is and what it really means to love and live your life that way. And we have this love and the capacity to love others because God has loved us so much. So let's let it overflow from us out into the world around and watch what happens. I think it's going to be pretty great. So that's what love is, what it looks like. So as you're out there in the world, let's remember to have faith in God and what He can do for us, and to show His love to everyone we meet. And that's what He's asked of us. So let's try to do that. Sometimes it's difficult, but it's well worth it in the end. So I hope you guys have had some fun this summer. I know it's been a little different, a little hard, but it's all going to be okay. We're going to get back to normal eventually. And I hope you guys have learned a little something. I have. So maybe take something with you as you go on throughout the year. So I'll see you guys around.